In part 2 of our 5-part webinar, CMP and NTSO Complaints, Carolyn Lockheed with the Office of Compliance and Enforcement will review how to pay a civil money penalty using the online payment portal. Coming up now in this edition of FDA's Tobacco Compliance Webinars.
Thank you for watching part 2 of our webinar on CMP and NTSO complaints. I'm Carolyn Lockheed with CTP's Office of Compliance and Enforcement. This is the second webinar in the series of 5 webinars to assist you, retailers and small businesses that have received a complaint seeking a civil money penalty, also referred to as a CMP, or a no tobacco sale order, also referred to as an NTSO. This episode explains how to pay your CMP using the online acknowledgement and payment portal. FDA has created 5 separate webinars in this series. The other topics in this series are Part 1, Introduction to CMP and NTSO Complaints. Part 3, How to File an Answer and Consequences for Not Filing an Answer. Part 4, The Settlement Process. And Part 5, The Hearing Process, including what happens before the hearing is conducted, during the hearing, and after the hearing. All 5 webinars are available on FDA's Tobacco Compliance Webinars page. To access the webinars, visit www.fda.gov and type FDA Tobacco Compliance Webinars in the search bar. Follow the FDA Tobacco Compliance Webinars link in the search results to find all available webinars. The webinars are organized by year. You can watch all 5 webinars in order or skip ahead to a webinar topic of your choice. Once you receive a CMP complaint, one of the options you have is to pay the full amount of the penalty requested by FDA's Center for Tobacco Products. You can also have a settlement conference with FDA's Center for Tobacco Products to discuss factors that might help mitigate or reduce the penalty. The settlement process is covered in detail in webinar number 4. If you request a hearing and a decision by the administrative law judge, any penalties assessed by the administrative law judge can be paid through the online payment portal. The hearing process is covered in detail in webinar 5. During this webinar, we will discuss how to access the online acknowledgement and payment portal to pay your civil money penalty, or CMP, using your assigned FDA docket number and retailer case number, submitting the required online acknowledgement form, and submitting payment online through the U.S. Department of Treasury's pay.gov website. To pay a CMP, the easiest and preferred method is to pay online. To pay online, first you must access the FDA's Center for Tobacco Products Civil Money Penalties Acknowledgement and Payment Portal, located at the web address provided in this slide. Please note, scheduled maintenance of the website usually occurs on the first business day of each month. If you receive a message that the system is not available due to scheduled maintenance, please try to access the system again after 24 hours. If you need immediate assistance, you can contact the FDA's Center for Tobacco Products at the phone number or email address provided on this screen. Please provide your FDA docket number when calling or emailing. You can find the FDA docket number and retailer case number on the cover letter that accompanied the complaint for your case. After navigating to the portal and reviewing the System Terms of Use notice, click the radio button next to I Understand below the notice to proceed. You will then be directed to the case search screen. First, you will need the FDA docket number and retailer case number. You can find these numbers on the cover letter that accompanied the complaint for your case. When entering the FDA docket number in the case search screen, you must use capital letters and dashes as they appear on the cover letter. It is important that you enter the FDA docket number and the retailer case number carefully, as both numbers must match the system to find your case. Once you have entered the FDA docket number and the retailer case number, click the search button. After entering the proper FDA docket number and retailer case number, the portal displays an acknowledgement form that corresponds to your CMP. Review the information and verify that the case information is correct, including the balance. If there are errors, please contact the FDA Center for Tobacco Products using the phone number or email shown on this slide. You must submit an online acknowledgement form before making payment. The online acknowledgement form has several required fields into which you must enter information. The red boxes on this slide denote required fields. You must complete all the required fields in the acknowledgement form to proceed to the payment page. We will now go through each required field. The acknowledgement form requires you to agree to a series of statements. Please take time to read each statement carefully. By checking the box next to each statement, you are acknowledging that 1. You are authorized to settle claims on behalf of the retail establishment. 2. All of the violations contained in the complaint, including any warning letter violations referenced in the complaint, occurred. 3. Sufficient payment will be made to settle the matter. 4. You waive your ability to contest the violations in the future. And 5. The acknowledged violations may be counted in determining the establishment's total number of violations in future enforcement actions. If you are not willing to acknowledge each of these statements, you are responsible for filing an answer within 30 days of receiving the complaint. Next, enter your first name and last name in the provided fields. This serves as your electronic signature. By entering your name here, you acknowledge that your online consent is equivalent to a binding legal signature. Then, select your title from the Title drop-down list. Your title is a required field and must be provided to proceed. If your title is not in the drop-down list, please stop and contact FDA Center for Tobacco Products at the phone number or email address provided on this slide. You will then be required to enter your phone number. The extension field is optional. You will also be permitted to enter your email address. Although the email address field is optional, providing an email address may assist FDA Center for Tobacco Products in contacting you if the need arises. You may also enter your address if your mailing address is different from that of the retail establishment noted at the top of the page. These address fields are optional. Once you have completed all required information on the online acknowledgement form, click I agree. By clicking the I agree button, you consent to the use of the electronic signature to execute the acknowledgement form. The electronic signature will have the same legal effect, validity, and enforceability as a handwritten signature. After the acknowledgement form is submitted, the case summary page displays. Click the Print Form button to view, save, or print a copy of the signed acknowledgement form. After clicking the Print Form button, a new window opens with a printable version of the acknowledgement form. You may want to print the form for your records. Once you have completed an online acknowledgement form, you can begin the payment process. To begin the payment process, click the Pay Penalty button on the case summary page. After clicking the Pay Penalty button, you'll be directed to the warning screen shown on this slide. The penalty amount in the warning screen should match the amount of the CMP sought in the complaint. If you participated in the settlement process with the FDA Center for Tobacco Products, then the penalty amount on the warning screen should match the amount that you agreed upon during your discussions. As mentioned earlier, information on the settlement process can be found in Webinar 4. If the ALJ assessed a penalty in a decision, the amount in the warning screen should match the amount assessed by the ALJ. If the penalty amount is incorrect, click Cancel and contact the FDA Center for Tobacco Products using the contact information on this slide. If the penalty amount is correct, click OK. You will then be directed to the Payment Methods page. On this page, you will be given the option to make payment online. The Payment Methods page also allows users to print an invoice. You are not required to print an invoice, but if you wish to print an invoice for your records, click the Print Invoice button to view, save, and/or print a copy of the invoice. Click the Pay Now button at the bottom left corner on the Payment Methods page to make an online payment via electronic check or credit card. Available online payment methods include electronic check, also known as e-check, or credit card payment through Discover, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. You can also make payment by mail with a check or money order. Instructions on how to pay by mail will be displayed on the screen. If you decide to pay through these methods, checks and money orders must be made payable to the United States Treasury. If the Pay Now button doesn't display, contact FDA Center for Tobacco Products for further instructions. After clicking Pay Now, a new window opens for the U.S. Department of the Treasury's Pay.gov website. Once the payment process is completed through Pay.gov, Pay.gov generates a Pay.gov tracking ID confirming that the payment has been submitted. You should keep this tracking number for your records. The Pay.gov tracking ID is not a confirmation that the FDA has received and processed the payment. It can take up to 2 business days for the payment to process. Once your payment has been processed, FDA Center for Tobacco Products will send you a written acknowledgement of the payment. The Departmental Appeals Board, or DAB, may also send you documents relating to the closing of the case. Please keep these documents for your records. If you have any questions regarding these documents, please contact the FDA Center for Tobacco Products at the phone number or the email address provided on this screen. This concludes our discussion of how to pay your civil money penalty online. To summarize the material we have covered in this webinar, we discussed how to access the online acknowledgement and payment portal. We demonstrated how to submit an online acknowledgement form. We reviewed the steps for paying the penalty, and we examined how to print an invoice for your records. Now that we've covered the basics of how to pay your civil money penalty online, we encourage you to visit the other webinars in the series if you have additional questions regarding a CMP or NTSO. The first webinar in this series was an introduction to civil money penalty and no tobacco sale order complaints. The remaining webinars in this series are Part 3, how to file an answer and consequences for not filing an answer, Part 4, the settlement process, and Part 5, the hearing process. All 5 webinars are available on the FDA Tobacco Compliance Webinars page. To access the webinars, visit www.fda.gov and type FDA Tobacco Compliance Webinars in the search bar. Follow the FDA Tobacco Compliance Webinars link in the search results to find all available webinars. The webinars are organized by year. Thank you for watching Part 2 of our webinar on CMP and NTSO complaints, brought to you by the FDA Center for Tobacco Products, whose mission is to protect our kids and the nation's health from the dangers of tobacco.